What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. And guess what? Next week is the start of free agency for the 2025 season, so a lot of news coming your way. Make sure you smack that like button and subscribe. Put that post notification bell on as well, just so you're kept up to date with everything Arizona Cardinals news. But today we want to talk about the big standouts here for the NFL Combine. And yes, I'm a little late to this, but I was out of town for the weekend and, on vacation. So now I'm finally back and just trying to get back into the swing of things here. And I was really focusing on here on Thursday with the top defensive linemen that I feel like the Arizona Cardinals should really look after for not just the first round, but just the draft in general, right? So you're going to see some prospects on here that potentially could be in the first round or most likely the second round, third round, or whatever, right? But just prospects that I really like from the combine, and their stock has just gone up, right? So now there has been some prospects that did not participate in this year's combine, which is unfortunate, but it makes sense, right? There's some guys out there that are going to have a draft stock regardless if they went to the combine or not. Guys like Michael Williams, which I was really hoping to see. He didn't really do anything in the combine. Jalen Walker is another name out there that I really was excited to see what he's going to do in the combine. Didn't participate as well. And then Kenneth Grant as well. Now, obviously, Mason Graham is another name out there, but the Cardinals are not going to be picking in the top 5 and top 6, which most likely that's where Mason Graham's going to be, or even an Abdul Carter. Those are big names out there that are probably not going to be, having their stock go up if they do anything in the combine. We know what they're going to do. They're going to be top 10 picks, but Kenneth Grant, definitely a name that's getting thrown out there a lot. Definitely a top 20 pick here in the NFL draft. So guys that I was excited to watch. A lot of them didn't participate, but there's definitely some guys that we got to talk about here that has really shined out in this year's combine, and that's what we're going to be doing in today. So let's get started here, ladies and gentlemen. We got a graphic here that is nice on the eyes, and these are some guys that I really want to talk about here for the Cardinals. Now, yes, there's going to be some guys on here that are going to be picked up in the first round. There's going to be guys on here that are going to be picked up in the second round, third round, maybe fourth or fifth round, right? So let's start off here with the guy that I would really love the Cardinals to go after right now. Mike Green was a guy that I still want the Cardinals to go after as well, but I understand there's going to be some character concerns or things that were done off the field in his younger days. It seems like a lot of those things were addressed as well, so I do still think he's going to be a top 15, top 20 prospect in this year's draft. I still want Mike Green to be up there, but we want to focus on the guys that were on the combine and participated in something, right? So I want to go ahead and go with my number one guy here in James Pierce Jr. I think his draft stock absolutely went crazy this last Thursday, and he just did himself a lot of favors to be definitely a top 20 pick, or at least most likely a first rounder in this year's NFL draft. So James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee, obviously primarily the edge, 6'5", 245. What was really kind of made him a lot of people talking about him was his 40-yard line or his 40-yard dash. He ran a 4.47. And then he did it again with very similar. So this guy is a very good prospect off the edge. I'm excited about him. I really am. I think he's looked very good and did nothing but just make his draft stock that much better. He was already supposed to be projected a first-round pick. Definitely going to stay in that first-round pick range. I would love the Cardinals to potentially go after him. Now, is he going to fall to the 16th overall? I don't know, right? There's a lot of speculations on what's going to happen within the top 1 through 15, the teams that are picking in front of the Cardinals, but I would love the Cardinals to go after a James Pierce Jr. because that just solidifies your edge rusher of the future. But if he doesn't fall, no worries. There's still a lot of guys that I would love the Arizona Cardinals to potentially go after. Let's move on to the next guy, Derek Harmon. Now, we're mainly going to focus in this video on edge rushers and defensive tackles, if you guys haven't already noticed, right? So Derek Harmon out of Oregon, 6'4", and a half. He's 313 pounds, had a 40 of 4.95. So obviously slower than James Pierce, but different body types, different positions there. I think that he really did do a really good job in this year's combine. He did the bare minimum. He didn't do the broad jump or anything like that, but definitely a guy that helped his draft stock. If he doesn't go in the first round, then he's definitely going to go early in the second round, because he's looked really, really good in this year's combine. But he also, the production, what he's done in college in Oregon, he's definitely a top 50 prospect for sure. So I like what I've seen from him. I really do. Now, we're going to go to maybe the second rounder, third round, fourth round type of guys. Now, I know I have Darius Alexander in there. There's people out there mocking him in the later part of the first round. With the exception of him, the other guys are going to be later round picks, right? With the exception of the notable guys. So Ty Robinson, man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I liked what I've seen from Ty Robinson, 6'5", 288. And before James Pierce Jr. actually ran, Ty Robinson was up there in terms of one of the fastest 40s, right? Especially for the defensive tackles. He looked really, really good out there. Everything that he's done, right? His vert jump 33 and a half, broad 9 and 11, split 1.75. Ty Robinson looked really, really good. Now, where is he going to be projected to go? He might be a late round pick or maybe a mid round pick. So if the Cardinals are looking for somebody that's can be brought into this roster in a maybe mid-round pick to a late-round pick, Ty Robinson is most likely going to be your guy there. Let's move on over to the next guy, the tallest guy out there, 6'6", had a vert jump of 45.5, and this one made breaking news. Everybody was so shocked in terms of I don't think this was even reached. Now, granted, he's 6'6", right? So he's a big guy. He's tall. James Pierce Jr. is 6'5", so he's tall as well. But 6'6", another level there. So Landon Jackson definitely helped his stock as well. His vert was absolutely breaking news in the world of the combine, 45 and a half. And then obviously his broad jump there, his split there. His 40 was pretty good in terms of an edge rush. He did actually pretty darn well. Nothing in the realm of obviously James Pierce Jr., but he pretty darn respectable for such a big guy. 4.68, definitely very well there. Darius Alexander, we mentioned him a little earlier. Out of Toledo, defensive tackle. I like what I've seen from him as well. He's done a lot of different things in the combine. Specifically cone drills, all those different things. His movement, man, he's definitely going to be a late first round pick. Maybe somewhere in the realm where our guy that we got out of Missouri, which obviously Darius Robinson, I think he's going to fall somewhere in that realm, right? Maybe in the 22 to 28 range. So I don't think the Cardinals are going to probably get him unless we trade back. If the Cardinals trade back to maybe accumulate maybe another third rounder or fourth rounder, Darius Alexander could definitely be a guy that the Cardinals could take a swing at. 6'4", 305, ran a 40 of 4.95. And as a guy that's 305, that's pretty darn fast and pretty darn good for a guy. Had a split of 1.72, vert 31.5. So really, really good stuff from Darius Alexander here out of Toledo. Like I said, if we go somewhere around the realm of Darius, I hope the Cardinals decide to trade back and accumulate something. Definitely not the 16th overall for Darius, but I really liked what he's seen. I think his draft stock really, really shot up for sure. Now, I'm going to talk about a guy here that maybe not a lot of people are talking about, but Elijah Simmons. Now, his numbers are not going to be crazy, right? But 6'1", 334. We're talking about a guy that it's going to be really hard to move off the line. A guy that's going to be a stuffer, hopefully a run stuffer, right? A guy that's going to be hopefully a focal point. Now, if you don't believe me, let's take a look to see what J.J. Watt, former Arizona Cardinal slash obviously Texan as well, saying, can we draft him? And I believe he was actually a Texan at this point. And if you don't believe me, he ended up putting this tweet out. I believe it was in 2019 when he was actually at the draft. He ended up putting this tweet out saying, can we draft number 72 from Tennessee Metro High School team? Kid looks like a beast. So he was already on him fairly quickly here with Elijah Simmons, defensive tackle. So I like what I see from him as well. Definitely going to be most likely a later round pick. If you're looking for a guy that's going to be maybe in the 4th, 5th, maybe even a 6th rounder, I like what I've seen from him as well. 6'1", 334, had a 40 of 5.37. So obviously slower, he's a bigger dude, but he's going to be a guy that's going to be able to be a stuffer, right? It's going to be really hard to move him off the line. Really liked what I've seen out of him. And some notable players that I really like as well. And I have them as notable players, not to kind of disrespect them or anything like that. But Shamar Stewart, I think he's definitely done a good job for a guy that's probably going to be maybe a late first rounder, maybe an early second rounder, to probably being a guy that's going to be most likely somewhere in maybe the top 15, top 20. I think his vert was pretty nuts as well. And I think he was very comparable to Miles Garrett. People were like comparing his vert jump to Miles Garrett. So Shamar Stewart did a really good job in the combine. Now, the biggest thing on him is that his stats for college does not really equate to a first round talent or first round prospect. That's one of the biggest knocks on Shamar Stewart, but he's definitely checked a lot of boxes here on the combine, and a lot of people are looking at him for potential first round pick. Heck, maybe even a top 15, maybe a top 25 pick in the first round as well. So Shamar Stewart has done a really good job in the combine as well. And then Donovan Ezuraku as well out of Boston College has definitely done a really good job here and did not do a lot of stuff in the combine, but enough to most likely keep him where the realm where he was at before. Most likely a late first round pick or maybe an early second round pick. Definitely an edge rusher that the Cardinals could potentially look after if they do decide to go defensive tackle with the 16th overall and maybe trade up with the second round pick. Maybe a Donovan Ezuraku could be a valuable option for the Cardinals and maybe in the second round. But a lot of these guys, man, this defensive line class this year is seen to be one of the best defensive line classes that we've seen coming out of the draft in a very, very long time. Defensive tackles as well as running backs, which I understand there's some people out there that want a running back like maybe a Cam Scadaboo or another running back that really looks really good. There's a lot of good running backs in this year's draft class as well. So if the Cardinals want to, take another swing in the later rounds, I'm not mad at that as well. But these are going to be my top defensive linemen in the combine, the guys that participated in the combine. These are the guys that I really, really liked coming out of the combine. Let me know if there's anybody that you like that I don't have on my list here. Put it in the comments below. I absolutely appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cardinals.